Hi friends, it's Steve here again, and in this module we're going to look at what I consider to be the heart of the groups module, which is scheduling your various community group events. Up to this point, and I recommend you watch these in sequence 1 through 4, but of course you can watch them in any order you like. We've stepped you through how to access the groups module, how to add or delete or change the status of members, and then also what the generic settings are that the public gets to see. In this module, what we're going to do is look at what your group primarily gets to see and how we can manage group activities and make this a more enriching experience. So first, I'm going to make the assumption that you all are able to get into the groups module up to this point. And when you get here, we'll click on the group I created yesterday, the imaginary Doe community group, and we see a smiling John and Tay and John Jr. in this photo. And then when that comes up, we're going to go down to the second thing down, which is called events. And this is where you're able to schedule your group meetings. So what comes up is 2 months worth of calendar. You can move that up here to the right and look at other months, but right now it's blank because we don't have any events. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to create a new event. And notice up here that our generic listing is every Friday at 6 p.m. So we click on this green button, create new event. And when that comes up, you get this menu. The event name, I just call everything a group meeting, and you can see I already have it preloaded for my own work. The date, you're going to click in that box because today is Wednesday when I'm filming this, and we're going to want to set it for Friday. The start time, since we said 6 p.m., needs to be 6 p.m. However long it goes is up to you. I normally give group meetings 2.5 hours. I just type in 8:30 p.m. This is not a multi-day event because if you get that, you'll ask for a beginning date and an end date. Repeat, this is important. Your options are weekly, every other week, monthly, and yearly. Now, some of your groups are first, second, and fourth Friday of the month. That's all fine. You can schedule it weekly and then individually delete the events you don't want to hold. But I'm going to say weekly because that's what a lot of groups do. Now, when you do schedule a repeat or recurrence, you have to set an end date. The system will only give you up to 2 years. So I'm going to set an end date 2 years in the future in 2022. And I can't go beyond the 27th, so the nearest Friday that's less is the 25th. And there you go. Now my event is set. And my description in this particular block would be generic. Whatever you put here will appear every week. So come join us for prayer and fellowship. I'll show you in a little bit how we can add information week to week on that. The location we're doing right now, although many groups aren't meeting physically at the current time, we'll use a physical address. So you remember from the previous lesson, I loaded my house in here. What I can do is I can click down on that and I can go back and have it at Bayview, or I can create a new location. If you have rotating hosts in your group, you can load their locations. You can load one of them here, and then you'd have to load a separate meeting to load the other location because we don't have a way to load the individual ones in any one event, but it's easy enough to do. But in this case, we'll stick with the Woborski home. If you want to see the map, it's here. And it may take a moment. There you go. Comes up. And then one more item, reminder emails. Again, we set that in settings as well, but here specifically tied to events, we make sure to reinforce that. Click it on, green, and then you get 3, 7, or 10 days. I like to use 3 since the group's meeting every week. 10 wouldn't really work. And 7 is like, we just met. Why are you telling me about a meeting? So 3 seems to be a happy medium. When I do that, when I'm all done, on the lower right corner, I create event. Now, because I'm creating this with a meeting, generically imaginary meeting in 2 days, it would ask me if I want to send reminders now. The answer here is no. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Yeah, it doesn't. So anyways, it'll set the reminders to people that don't exist. So not really a problem for anybody. Now, though, what we do is, since we've created the event, we can go back. There we go. So computer lag just a minute, but here's what's come up is a group meetings created. Now, when I go into events, what you will see is a dot by every Friday. So starting on 27 March, April every Friday, move forward every Friday, we have a dot. What we also have below this is a listing of the upcoming meetings through the next 2 months. And it'll roll through, so you don't have to do anything here. As long as the meetings are actually on the calendar, you are good to go. But we have specific meetings, and maybe we want to change it. Maybe we want to do the next meeting at Bayview Church. And so what I can do is click on group meeting, and I'm also going to show you how to put community group questions in here. So I click on that event. I can't do anything right now because I need to edit the event. So it's still group meeting. It's on the Friday the 27th, 6 to 8:30, repeating weekly, reminder emails going out, all good to go. Location, I want to change it to Bayview. So I just click on this right. Since Bayview is one of my preloaded locations, I can change it to Bayview, or I can create another location for somebody else's house. And what I want to do now is I want to go in and I want to add those cool hyperlinked community group questions. Because if I do that, then any of my group members that have the Church Center app will be able to open that app and select this particular event under our group, which they're a member of. And those questions will come up in a format that lets you read the question, and you can touch the scripture, takes you to the scripture reference, and brings you back. So you have everything in one hand. But how do I get there? Well, I need to go to Resources. And in Resources, our church staff has conveniently loaded community group questions. The last one is 15 March, was the lesson, is one that I did. So those are shared community groups. You don't have to do anything in this Resources place. The church staff does this, but we will go to the link. It takes you to the Bayview webpage up here, Bayview Guam, community group questions. And there they are. And I can copy this part or for small groups, or I can just go right in here, and all I gotta do is scroll down to the last question. I'm going to edit and copy, or Command C if you're on a Mac. I'm going to select back, go back to my group. I'm going to go back to my event, so click on events. I'm going to click on that day, or I will click down here, either will work. I'm going to edit my event. And because I didn't save the location as Bayview, we'll come up with that in just a moment. I'll hit Bayview there. I am going to go into this text box right here, return, and I'm going to go edit, paste. And there you have the questions. Now you can format them, you can put spaces between them, there's things you can do, but the orange text, those will take you right to Scripture, to that exact scriptural reference and back. And that's how our staff has created these. So it's very user-friendly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the right down here. I'm going to save everything I just did. Now I can save this event, just this one, or I can save this event and all occurrences after it. Well, since I don't want the same scripture every time, I'm just going to save this event. And it asks me the same question about sending reminders. No problem. That is going to be done in a moment. See if it'll let me save. There you go. I may have to hit it twice. And now you have your community group questions here, and this is what your people are going to see in the Church Center app on their mobile device. So everybody needs to have Church Center to use the benefits of Planning Center. So those are kind of two related but separate items. Church Center is for everybody in the public. So that's pretty much everything that you would need to know, except I'll do one more thing for you. I will cancel a meeting. So let's say everybody knows that the Good Friday, the Friday before Easter, is not really a good time to have a group meeting. So this year it's April 10th. I click on April 10th. It takes me down here. Group meeting hasn't started now. I go to this group meeting and I edit the event. And I inadvertently saved all of this for later. No problem. You can delete those as you go. But I'm going to delete this event, and if I want to delete all that occur after it, let's say the group breaks up and we want to cancel all the rest of our meetings, we would delete this event and all occurrences after it. But in this case, I'm just going to delete this one event. Are you sure? Etc. Delete event. It is gone. And you can see it's missing over here on the calendar. And if you look down here, you can see there's no more meeting on the 10th. You can add it back if you want. You just hit create new event, select the 10th, put your information in, and you are good to go. One last bit. The group leaders, whoever we identify as a group leader, so here in members, you will see John and Tate are group leaders. They, if they have a valid email, will get an email 10 minutes before the meeting is scheduled to occur. So at 5:50, asking you to take attendance. There will be a link in that email. You can click it on your phone, and a page will come up with your group meeting and your group members on it. And all you have to do is touch a box by their name, scroll to the bottom, and then submit attendance. It's important to take attendance. It gives us valuable data on how healthy our groups are in general and in specific. It also lets us identify for you if you have someone in your group who consistently doesn't make it to group meetings. It may be an opportunity for ministry, for you to engage with that person to find out maybe there's something in their life that's precluding it, or perhaps it's just an impediment for their schedule. And maybe you can arrange your group schedule in a way that's more amenable to everybody. So that's all we have for this particular session. I thank you for tuning in, and if you like these, just let me know, and if you don't like them, that's fine too. Let me know that. Just any feedback is good.